A strange fog appears in a small town. It is white, thick and gradually expanding. Just when people speculated that this was a natural phenomenon, weird things began to happen. Army-armed vehicles drove rapidly towards the fog. Residents of the small town rushed to the supermarket to buy supplies. In the supermarket, the air defense siren suddenly sounded. Everyone looked outside helplessly, and fear began to creep in. Then, they saw a bleeding old man running in fear.
Oh my God.
The old man rushed straight into the supermarket.
Something in the mist! Something in the mist!
Everyone was frightened by him. The old man yelled to close the door. Many people leaned to the windows to see what is outside. Suddenly a man suddenly opened the door and rushed out. The fog has come. He opened the car door and the fog surrounded him just right. Then people heard his screams. Everyone returned to the supermarket, and the fog spread all around. People started discussing what was going on. Some said it was a military experiment. Some people say it is chemical pollution. Someone who is the end of the world. At this time, a woman said that she could not stay here, her child was still at home, and she decided to go back to the child through the fog. But when the woman asked for help, everyone fell silent. The woman asked one by one with tears in her eyes. Everyone averts their eyes. She is desperate. The woman walked into the mist alone. Everyone stayed in the supermarket for a while. David went to find a blanket for his son. When he came to the warehouse, the electricity suddenly cut off. Then, there was a strange noise from the rolling door behind David. The door vibrated, as if something was there. David was frightened and ran back quickly, telling several people what he found. But they didn't believe it, so they went down to check together. Someone wants to open the door and go out and fix the circuit. David stepped forward to stop him, but was ridiculed as a coward. The door opened and everything seemed peaceful. Everyone laughed, but soon the smile disappeared.
What the fuck?
Only David rushed to save people alone, but the two men who had just laughed at him were frightened and motionless. The man with glasses on the side rushed forward to help, but the two couldn't move at all. The boy was torn off a piece of flesh, and he cried out in pain. More tentacles come in. In the end, both David and the man with glasses couldn't grab the tentacles. The boy was dragged out, and his screams came out. They could only close the iron gate quickly. David beat up the guy who just didn't help. The group returned to the supermarket and told people what had just happened. Unexpectedly, this tall black man didn't believe it at all, no matter what they said. He thought they were lying to him. David said to take him down to see the evidence, but he sternly refused. Fear has led some to deny reality. David had to take the others down. The shopkeeper saw blood and tentacles in the warehouse, and poked it with a stick, but it was still alive, and finally turned into a pool of black water. The owner conveyed the seriousness of the matter to everyone. They started stacking dog food in front of the supermarket glass to prevent monsters from attacking. But human nature has become more extreme. People formed 3 groups with different views. David felt that he should actively deal with reality. The sorceress preached loudly and kept threatening people that the world was going to die. The black man continued to disbelieve everything, and even called a group of people to go out with him and find someone to rescue him. Even when others object, they don't listen. Seeing that they had made up their minds, David no longer persuaded them, but asked him to tie a rope around his waist. If the rope can be completely released without abnormality, it means that there is no danger in the fog. One person agreed. People tied ropes and walked into the mist. Start the rope moving slowly. Suddenly, none of the 4 people could hold it, and then the rope rose into the air, and then it lost its strength and everyone fell down. When David pulled the rope back, people screamed because only the lower body of the strong man remained. People dared not go out without saying anything. When it was night, there were no lights in the supermarket, so they took out a bunch of searchlights to illuminate. Just when everyone thought they would be fine as long as they didn't go out, bugs appeared. Oversized bugs, not creatures of this world. There are more and more bugs. They took lights and flashlights to illuminate, and as a result, there were more and more bugs outside the supermarket. Just when they thought that the insects could not get in, a strange bird came, and it quickly smashed the glass. Everyone turned off the lights quickly, but some fools turned on the ring lights. It's over, the glass has been smashed with a hole. The bug broke into the supermarket, and a beautiful little girl was bitten by the bug and fell down. After the bug flew away, the girl couldn't stand up anymore. It didn't take long for the girl's neck to swell, and she soon died. People lit mops, and in a panic, some people kicked down the iron barrels containing gasoline and burned themselves. Strange birds also broke in, some eating bugs and some eating people. By the time people killed all the bugs and strange birds that came in, and sealed the broken windows, 3 people had already died. The burnt one was also dying, and begged everyone to kill him. Not long after, some people couldn't bear the fear and committed suicide by taking medicine. David decided to take someone to the pharmacy next door to get the medicine. The sorceress began to object again. They insist on going out. The sorceress began to curse them that they would be eaten by monsters. An old lady couldn't help but hit her with something. David led the people to set off, and walked carefully through the fog to the dark pharmacy. They fumbled around in the pharmacy for a while, then dispersed. Suddenly people's eyes widened, and they saw people hanging by spider silk, more than one. Apparently there's something else in the drugstore. They wanted to run, and one of them was suddenly caught by the corpse behind. At this time, the big spider came and spit out spider silk to people, and the spider silk fell to the ground and the ground was instantly corroded. Everyone fought with the spiders. Some people were broken when their legs were entangled by the spider silk, and some people fell down immediately after being spit on the face by the spiders. When people fled to the door, they found that a larger spider monster was already waiting for them, and at this time the bullets had run out. At a critical moment, an old man stuck a wooden spear into the monster's body, and everyone was able to escape. When people went back to the supermarket, only 4 of the 8 remained. Looking at the tragic situation in front of her, the sorceress worked harder to promote her extreme teachings, and portrayed herself as the last savior. Many people believed it. The companion who was born and died with David just now also believed the witch's words. On the other side, David found one of the soldiers, and they went to his comrades. Unexpectedly, both soldiers hanged themselves. David pressed the soldiers about the origin of the fog. Suddenly someone grabbed the soldier and dragged him into the crowd. Under collective pressure, soldiers speak the truth. May this fog be caused by military experiments. They wanted to open a dimensional window to see what another world looks like, but they opened a door. The sorceress yelled at the soldier, and many of them, instigated by her, started beating him. David was also beaten by the crazy crowd. The sorceress shouted that the soldiers should be sacrificed to the devil. As a result, the soldier was lifted up and thrown outside the supermarket. The soldiers knocked on the door hard, but the people inside were indifferent. In the mist, a huge monster had appeared, and he begged one last thing. Then the soldiers were taken away. Crazy people rejoice. The witch told everyone that we have already sacrificed a soul tonight, and we will continue tomorrow. There are already many followers of the witch. There are unknown monsters outside, and dark hearts inside, and they can't stay anywhere. David made up his mind and prepared to steal some food to escape, but found that the witch was already waiting for them. At this time, the witch has completely regarded herself as the savior. She did not allow David to leave, and her followers approached one by one. She said they were all sinners, they didn't believe in God, they deserved to die. Everyone raised their knives. The sorceress said that we should continue to sacrifice the little boy. The believers began to surround David and others, attacking with knives. The sorceress yelled to kill them. It turned out that the old clerk shot the sorceress and killed her. The lunatics who lost their leader calmed down. David and others took advantage of this opportunity to flee quickly and ran frantically to the parking lot. In the fog, everyone was terrified and shouted each other's names loudly. The old clerk opened the car door. At this time, the monster appeared again. Take the old shop assistant away in one fell swoop. A spider also appeared, and it threw a man down. The big monster turned and left after eating the old clerk. Everyone stepped up and finally escaped into the car. The store manager staggered back to the supermarket while another was caught by the spider. The people in the car became the last hope. They drove off and passed by the entrance of the supermarket. There is still space in the car, but no one dares to come out again. Go slowly along the road. David drove home to pick up his wife, but his wife was already a corpse. They continued to drive far away, and there were overturned cars and dead people everywhere. They also saw a monster as huge as a mountain, and every step it took would make the car shake violently. After the monster left, David continued to drive forward. But soon, the car ran out of gas. In this game of life or death, the answer has been revealed. Listening to the shouts of monsters outside the car, one can imagine the result of getting out of the car. So, they decided to commit suicide. David counted and found only 4 bullets in the gun, but there were 5 of them. David decided that he would face the most painful ending. After 4 shots were fired, David was alone in the car. He screamed out his grief, then slammed open the car door, ready to face the monster. After waiting for a long time, the monster did not appear. David stared forward suddenly, his eyes gradually frightened. Did the monster finally come? No, something appeared in the fog that made David even more desperate. The rescue army came, carrying a car full of survivors.